Okay, so Alastor is only black to justify him using voodoo. Before I start this off, I just want to say that I used to be a big fan of Hazbin Hotel and Vivzy Pop when the pilot was released. Seeing her crowdfunding Hazbin Hotel through Patreon as early as 2016 to then release the pilot in 2019 and finally get picked up by A24 in 2020 was truly inspirational for young artists everywhere. A brief synopsis of the adult animated cartoon. Hazbin Hotel takes place in Hell, where we follow a demon princess Charlie, who plans to rehabilitate sinners so they can move to heaven as Hell is overpopulated, and sinners must be exterminated in order to make room. Hell itself is based on the Bible, as there are many biblical characters within the show, such as Lucifer, Adam, Lilith, and St. Peter's. Alastor is not from the Bible and is an original character from Vivian's other work, Zoophobia, but was then reworked in Hazbin Hotel. Alastor is a radio demon, serial killer, and cannibal that uses Haitian voodoo from the 1920s or 30s. Before we get into this, a lot of this lore is very hard to come by, as it comes from either Vivian's Twitter post or Patreon post, which is behind a paywall. Lastly, before I get into this, I'm going to show you a picture of Alastor. So, how do we know that Alastor is black? Based on a tweet that is impossible to find, Vivian allegedly stated that Alastor is mixed Creole from New Orleans, Louisiana. Creole means a person of mixed colonial French, African American, and Native American ancestry. From an art standpoint, nothing about his design alludes to any of this. The show, when picked up by A24, had given all the characters redesigns, and Alastor still looks like the whitest man you have ever seen. You can make the argument that because he is mixed, there is some leeway that will allow room for how he looks. Not everyone is built the same, I can respect that, but if you're going to claim that you created this character with that intent and that they are mixed Creole, then it better be mentioned in the show and not some random tweet. Which is exactly what happened, by the way. Vivzy Pop did not care to make changes to his design and only had the time to tweet that he was mixed Creole when the backlash of the fans telling her that white people can't do voodoo. This brings me on to my next topic. One of Alastor's core traits is that he uses voodoo as a power in Hell. There's no confirmation in what type of voodoo Alastor uses, but I have seen Vivian use real Haitian voodoo symbols in his art, so for the sake of that argument, we will be discussing that. Haitian voodoo is a syncretic folk religion that came into being when Africans were captured and forced into slavery, causing their cultures and religious beliefs to collide with Catholicism. So for Vivian to use voodoo as an accessory for the character, it's really not okay. I've seen the argument on why it's okay to make fun of Christianity and not voodoo. And just to start that off, Christianity is the main religion in which the show censors itself, making Adam a huge asshole and the main antagonist in season 1. The world itself is based on Dante's Inferno's description of hell, having 7 rings defined by its sin. And for those who don't know, Dante's Inferno is more or less a Bible fanfiction. Christianity is one of the largest religions in the world and has a huge following in the US, and we're not going to pretend that the US doesn't cater to Christians. Just this December of 2024, Oklahoma State Schools superintendent said that he has ordered schools to teach the Bible. And to answer that, why is Christianity okay to mock and not voodoo? In the simplest terms, because racism. Voodoo in America has been demonized for years, and a lot of fear-mongering tied with voodoo goes along with slave rebellion post-Civil War. Voodoo was used as evidence to justify racism and segregation. It's one of the world's most misunderstood religions, and it is not a silly, quirky accessory for your OCs. For the last point, I'm going to bring up the Alastor blackface cosplayers. If you don't know, in Fan Expo Boston of 2024, there were 3 Alastor cosplayers in blackface that were interacting with the fans as well as joining in on the Hazbin Hotel cosplay photo shoot. The reason why I bring this up because just like the voodoo controversy, some people in the fandom tried to justify it by mentioning it's just a cartoon and like he's not a human and maybe it was an accident. I'm not saying everyone in the fandom has said this, but I did see like a few people try to justify it. And like these are the same points that people use to justify Vivian using voodoo in his character. Both of them are not okay, and for others who aren't even part of the culture to try to make excuses for it, need to let the voices of those who are affected by it be heard. I'm not Creole and I don't practice in Voodoo, but what I have done is educate myself from creators who are a part of those cultures, and I can only encourage the Hazbin Hotel fandom to do the same. If you made it this long, thank you for listening. I hope you gained something from this, and please enjoy the art. So for this part of my little video essay, I'm going to be redesigning Alastor in just like my style, and I want to, give him his flowers. I want to make him pretty. I want to make him very cute and just, in my style. So I've already done a lot of behind the scenes designing. So what I usually do is I start off by making a mood board on like Pinterest, and I just collect like stuff from like the 20s and the 30s, like design wise, like what are the clothing. I'm trying to collect specifically people from Creole in that time period and finding out photographs on what I can use as inspiration. Yeah, I'm just collecting as much stuff as I can to get my brain juices flowing. But after a while, I did come up with 3 designs that I really enjoyed. And I just asked my friends on Discord like which one they liked, like what parts they liked of it in general, and like what was working in these designs that they wanted to see in the next revision. And so for the next revision, they did give me some hints on like maybe he has like a really big coat in the back that looks like a cape. They really liked the little fedora that he had in design A, so I added that. And they really liked the face in design C, so that's what I added. And just the overall pose in design B they liked. So this is like the design that I'm working with right now. And so for the next process, I just did a bunch of color studies. This part was really fun. I asked my friends again what they liked. They really liked A and B. I eventually made 2 more revisions for A, so we now have A2 and B2. My friends really liked A2, but they wanted to see more color variations with like his coat and everything, so we are finally in the final stretch with A2, A3, and A4. My friends really liked A3 because there was just so much contrast between the black coat and his overall silhouette, which I totally agree. And so that was the final design. And now, like, throughout this video, I'm just going to be drawing him in his, like, iconic Alastor pose. But, yeah, that was the design process.